Hey team, it's your resident troublemaker, Amin Chahel, and today we're going to talk about digital ID. You're seeing this pop up everywhere. Digital ID is coming. Europe is talking about no longer having cash payments. And then Canada is now indicating digital ID and universal basic income. You're not going to stop seeing the question of digital ID coming up everywhere. So you need to understand what it is and how it's going to impact you. I have uniquely experienced firsthand what happens with a digital ID. It is my supposition now that a digital ID was already created by the government of Canada and applied already en masse. And there's a lot of indications of this. And I also believe that my digital ID was canceled in most likely a trial that these individuals were doing to see if it did function the way that they wanted to function it. And for anybody who doesn't know me, I'm a Canadian, I'm a former Canadian academic, if you can believe it. But I spoke out against some corruption that was happening at the government level, just money mishandling, and against how the U.S. election was being hacked from Canada, which was my assumption based on the artificial intelligences that were deployed. And the digital ID decided that I was the troublemaker, so they wanted to cancel me instead. So irrespective, I'm still dealing with this, but it's been a really trying time to be part of a trial that you never signed up for, and to have your life obliterated in that way. But I do want to warn everybody that, and I'm going to caveat this also by saying that I am somebody who was designing a form of a digital ID, but the digital ID I was designing was blockchain based and fully gave citizens control over their identification and how they were navigating sort of the world at large. I was sort of inspired by what Estonia had done. I had the advantage of seeing it operating, and it looked great. Every time, according to the blockchain digital ID, every time somebody is trying to get access to you, your whereabouts, or what you're doing, you have to give them permission, yes or no. But the digital ID they have rolled out and are in the process of now announcing is basically a software digital ID. So how do you create a software digital ID? How did they create theirs? So this is basically what you're looking at as the ecosystem here for all of the different areas that are going to be monitored and controlled based on the ID. Now, if you have a phone number and you're in Canada, you should know that the Canadian government has access to that phone number whenever they want, because the telcos will just do whatever they want to say they want. And we also see with the banks that the banks do not require a warrant to do what the government is saying with what happened to the convoy folks. So basically, if you are on the internet, your digital ID is monitoring you. They're also talking about making VPNs illegal, and that is so that they can monitor you. The format you should think about is now the government, along with all these other individuals, has decided that you are a criminal element to begin with, unless otherwise. So you are now guilty by default until proven innocent, and there's no way to get out of the cycle. I have no idea what level of government where they have not also even declared it, so you can't like go and appeal your digital ID being canceled. What are the indications that I'm saying that my digital ID was canceled? They crashed my credit score using my bank CIBC. And then my phone, which was with Fido, was also hacked and given full control to the government. I was trying to do a crypto transaction because I was working blockchain and trying to alert people. You know what? My life is complicated. My internet was fully hacked, and I can tell that by. So, how do you tell that your internet is hacked? You get flickering. You get a certain type of flickering, and then you get two-factor authentication that is sort of hacked. Thanks to whoever put the flicker in as I was talking. So obviously I'm hacked. I don't know how this is happening. I'm not doing anything. My hands are right here. I don't know how any of this stuff works. I'm just talking to other people. Your employment. They can cancel your employment. They have gone after people who were trying to give me jobs and maligned my name. and made sure that I couldn't get a job. They have full access to your location details. I was in Toronto at one point, and I was looking to get into an Uber. And I knew immediately that both my Uber location was hacked, my phone was hacked, and it was released to somebody. I don't know how they did it, but I'm not really big on these things. And then law enforcement, if they tell law enforcement that your ID has been canceled, you won't get any help from any agency, and that's happened to me as well. Um, can I get the flicker again? I don't know if it comes by demand or not. But law enforcement has also been hacked, so I don't know how that works. Who are is controlling or who wants control of this? The government wants control of this because they are working on behalf of big tech. Palantir is most likely in charge of your actual digital ID. And so in addition to that, if you're suspicious of World Economic Forum, the United Nations, any international agency, you should be suspicious of right now because everyone's gonna tag you based on your digital ID. It's also a little bit uncomfortable for me to hear that now the government of Canada is going to come out with a universal basic income because that also means if you don't comply with what they're doing and what they're saying, they're going to take away the universal basic income. So it's a punitive system now that we have to look at, and it's extremely dangerous. It's very, very dangerous because their digital ID controls you based on ethnocentric demographic assumptions about who you are. In addition to that, there's a lot of software that has been, like, if you're on social media, you already know this. Social media can kind of program you, and it can kind of nudge you into doing certain things. So they are using your social media to kind of create these demographic identities that don't exist anymore. So, what's a good example of that? So, if you say that you are you believe in climate science, and you believe in climate change, then they're gonna start feeding you like an us and them on the climate side. So they're trying to make it so that everybody ends up becoming constantly afraid of other people, and constantly sort of in this fighting cycle where we're always trying to fight with each other, so that we don't pay attention to what the governments in charge are doing. On the climate side, it looks like their plan is extremely bizarre. They probably have like bunker systems already created, is my assumption, as COP is happening, and we're looking at some of the indicators there. I will say that all of the money from climate change. Uh, okay, listen, and I'm a I'm a climate change person. I'm a transition person, so I believe in climate change is real. The science is real, and we are kind of controlling a little microclimates, basically. So China will seed its clouds to cause rainfall before certain events, so it clears up the sky. Delhi tried to do it because their smog their smog concentration was so high. They just recently had a protest in New Delhi as well, so they tried to clear, but it didn't work. So some places, depending on the concentration of the pollutant in the air, it can work, but it doesn't always work. Having said that, I'm also hearing other people talk about how fires are being implicated in certain areas, specific areas. Look, if you've got dry conditions, I live in Alberta, and the sitting government of Alberta did not allow for contractors to go in and fight the fire in Jasper because of some jurisdictional loophole that would then enable them to blame the federal government for letting an entire town burn. So, do I believe that some of these fires are lit by arson? Absolutely. Do I believe that that makes it convenient for people on both sides? So everybody who believes in climate science or is pretending to can then be like, climate change did this, and everyone who's not believing it can then believe, say, an arsonist did this. The underlying conditions that cause a fire to go hotter, to like be lit, can be attributed to arson. Sorry, to climate change, but a fire does not burn as hot as some of these fires are burning. And so they have also developed microwave technology that melts things from the sky. And if you want to know that, just look at the recent parade that China did. They released, they for public, showed their microwave technologies and weapons. So you can kind of do that from the sky. What's in the sky that can enable us to do that? A lot of low Earth orbit satellites. So if you are concerned about a digital ID, here's my thing to you. Right now, I would be very concerned about a digital ID after having been canceled by the Canadian authorities because I was somebody who was trying to alert them to issues that I considered to be threats to Canadian safety. They decided that the easiest thing to do was to indicate that I was doing it. I am going to say this even though I feel a little bit uncomfortable saying it because of how dangerous my life has been for the last little while. I did report it to the RCMP. I was given the RCMP's name to report it to, and seeing them having just killed ostriches and what they have done with that case. Also, seeing some of the stuff that came out about how the RCMP is sympathetic to, uh, the leanings of the Liberal Party. I, was I'm not a political person, so I really didn't care if it was a liberal party or a conservative party. I only cared that corruption was happening. Or by corruption, I mean money mishandling, because now I'm like, oh my God, if I say corruption, are they going to come after me for something else? Because somebody on CBC made it abundantly clear that corruption is not the right word. So they've got everything kind of locked down on you. So, they're trying to engineer propaganda. Basically, we live in 1984's Big Brother, and they are not listening to. Listen, if you're a woman, and if you're a woman of color, and you're sort of somebody who lives independently, I'm really sorry. That's kind of my profile and how I used to be. You need to make some friends immediately because you're quick picking off, and they're not gonna help you. I tried to get a lot of help with a lot of issues. I felt unsafe, and they don't do anything. They didn't even write the reports down. So if other people are now coming out and talking about this, I feel like at least I have some cover from that reason. But if you are worried about a digital ID being rolled out right now, you should be worried about it. Okay, so now let's stop here. I've clearly indicated to you, how did they make the digital ID, first of all? Let's do this. So CRA was hacked a couple years ago. That is public information. This is what the government is doing. Um, it is not disclosing these things. And even if you do a FOIP request or you do a information access request to the government of Canada, they are not providing. They're not adhering to those rules. So they don't actually disclose anything. For the last year or so, I think somebody else is pressuring them from the international side. So they are disclosing some stuff, but it's usually behind a paywall, which also I think kind of violates the legal rules of how the government of Canada has to disclose things. But CBC, if anybody is noticing, has also changed. It is starting to at least inject some sense of like some content from the conservative side was coming on CBC. But they're not. I mean, we all know that CBC is a wing of the liberal government, the liberal arm. So I wouldn't say liberal government. I would say liberal party. The liberal party runs Canada. And if you're not with the liberal party, then I guess Bob's your uncle. Then you're with me. Who knows? So unless you have party allegiance in Canada, you don't really have a friend to speak of. So basically, what they did is your CRA got hacked. And by hacked, what I think actually happened is that they gave access uh, of CRA to somebody without notifying the frontline workers there. The frontline workers there then raised the alarm, and they are obviously women. So they were whistleblowers. Nobody really listens to those individuals, and nobody covered it. And so CRA has been hacked for a number of years. Actually, it's not recent. And the whistleblowers are also working in the federal government. So I mean, it's not like that's a secret. Then they can cross any idiot. And I worked in data science, so I can tell. And I worked at a telco. So anybody can from the telecommunication side, from that side, especially if you have access to the servers and the information. I have your social insurance number. From there, I have all of your government access into every single program. Then I can cross link that with your phone number. And then I can cross link that with the IP address for your internet. This is why the VPN is being outlawed, is because the government wants full control at all times. Then from the internet and the phone, I can ping you anywhere based on the phone. I have your location. I have your government information, so I know everything about your employment. You have to disclose everything about that, and then law enforcement will always ask for your name, number, and some form of ID. So they've got that. And so now, what can they control? They can control everything. They can nudge you in any direction that you want. And a good movie to watch for this is actually oh my god, it's like a Will Smith movie from back in the day when he gets sort of accidentally embroiled in. This is gonna bother me that I don't remember. It's Will Smith and the guy with spectacles, and they're showing how they can nudge you in different directions. The other one is like one of the Die Hard movies where the nerd guy is involved. From what's that movie? He's just not that into you. I don't remember this guy's name, but he's the computer guy who sort of is on the computer end, and then they're showing how they can do the full reset in the what is it? They called it a fire sale. So in the show they call in the movie they call it a fire sale. So that's kind of what these folks are doing. I don't. I mean, they're not doing the fire sale. That's more somebody who would be nefarious would be doing that. Which again, it's like, how do you not call this nefarious? The government is doing this to control you. So let's say you're out and about somewhere and your car is, at a light. They can control, like, obviously the lights. So your inputs, outputs, how you move, everything can be controlled now. If you think about the digital world that we have created, what we've actually just created is a cage for people, and we're like kind of rats that are walking around in these caged identities. And if somebody wants to control you, they want to control you. So what's my recommendation to you? Just be careful. They are looking at you demographically 100%. Be extremely careful about the content you consume online because everything you click on, everything you look at, even if you're scrolling and you slow down on a scroll, uh, they can read that. They can read the type. So if you think that your password is protected, they can actually read your TypeScript and what keys you are clicking on their side. So they have access to everything. There's no actual way to prevent them from gaining that access if they are doing it from the government side. That's just the way it is. Um, I would be very cautious about how I am on the internet. I'm trying now, even language. Listen, if you swear a lot, stop swearing. I know a lot of us have colored language. They're using that to indicate that these individuals are threats. They are using basically like everything to indicate that an individual is a threat. If you're vaccine resistant, they're using that to indicate that you're a threat. And there is concern about at least the COVID vaccines now that we're seeing a lot of this stuff happen. So I mean, I don't know why we have to be under this kind of control, but if you are somebody who is funny, like I fancy myself a funny person, be extremely careful about the jokes you're making online because online tonation is not detectable. And they're gonna find you. And we're kind of going into an extremely scary um, control situation here, at least in Canada. And having been in it for the last 2 years, I can guarantee you that it is not fun. You do not want to be caught up in it. And the best, if somebody had told me that this had been deployed, I would not have done anything. I would have just let SDTC do whatever SDTC was doing. I would have never talked about the fact that the U.S. election was being hacked. I never would have alerted any law enforcement agency about it. If I had an inkling that a digital ID was being tested and that I could potentially become embroiled in it, I would have just sat back and been like, this is not my job. Canada can protect itself, and like an ostrich, put my head into the sand here, but then apparently they send cops for the ostriches. So I'm really not sure what recourse people have, like average people have at this point, but I'd be really careful. Monitor your spend if you're moving. Notify your bank. If you're traveling, notify your bank. They're not, it doesn't seem like this is a kind system. This is a system that is designed to create, I think, I have no idea, government dependency of people, so that the government can then control everything that we do. I don't know what we're doing, by the way, that's so bad. I think most of us are just extremely just watching TV and Netflix and chilling. But the government seems to be really interested in being in our houses and our being in our bedrooms, controlling our thoughts and ideas and dreams. Um, so be careful, watch out for each other. And I would, the language thing was a really big deal for me because I am dyslexic and I have um, autism as well. So they used that as against me as well. They were trying to manufacture something there that could have resolved the issue, so to speak. And I only found out for confirmation that my computer was hacked yesterday because I was talking to somebody who's in tech somewhere else, and while I had indicated this to a lot of people, that individual immediately notified me that something was going on with the feed, the camera feed, and the phrase that they used is there's somebody in the middle, there a person in the middle, and I terminated the call because I did not want the other person to get hurt. I have a friend who was picked up as well, similar to me, and taken. No, I was never picked up. I was delivered multiple wellness checks, but this other individual was picked up, taken to a hospital, and given what I'm going to assume is experimental medication. Another person I know who works similar to me, like in an industry that can compete with consulting firms, tech firms. They are also missing from LinkedIn. They can cancel you from LinkedIn. They deleted me from LinkedIn. So if you go on LinkedIn, my hashtag used to be Clean Techer, CleanTecher. They removed me from LinkedIn, and that obviously is a part of how they are canceling us. So I would imagine that Microsoft is materially involved. This again, to me, looks like a Bill Gates plan. I don't know what the hell Bill Gates is planning to do here, but it would be nice if Darth Vader could stop mucking around and everything. But to anybody who is Canadian, be extremely careful and cautious. If you are in the United States, it's probably coming for you next. Peace out.